Okay, so in this video, we're just going to talk about selecting and naming tracks once they're in your session. So we're just going to have a quick look at a couple of these things. So in order to select a track, we click on its nameplate. And you'll notice when I click on the nameplate, I also get a selection in my tracks list over here of that track. So if you're not sure where it is in the tracks list, it will highlight for you when you select it here. Now, there's a really important shortcut key, which is Option or Alt on a Windows machine, and that is the DoToAll key, which means if I want to select all my tracks, I can hold down Option and then click on any track, and I will get them all showing, all selected, and I can deselect them all the same way, hold down Option or Alt, and then click any track nameplate. So that key is kind of the go-to modifier key in Pro Tools just in general. If you're ever in doubt, go with Option or Alt. Also, say that you wanted to change the size of a track, just to demo this. I just made the track a little bigger. I clicked on the ruler and then picked another size, right? Large. Well, what if I want them all, every track, to be smaller because I've got a lot of tracks? I can hold down Option and click on any one of these and click small, and they will all go to the same size. They will all go to small. And if I hold down Option and I want medium, they will all go to medium. If I want to select them all, Option is the DoToAll key. If I want to solo all my tracks, which is useless, but if I want to solo them all, I can Option click solo. Mute, same deal. Input monitoring, same deal. Record enable, same deal. So Option is the DoToAll key, and it will select and unselect all. Right? So I'm holding down Option and clicking solo, and it's soloing all the tracks, which is the same thing as having nothing soloed. Okay, track naming. So if I double click a track, I will get a dialog for renaming it, or I can right click and go down to the drop down and go rename, and I'll get the same dialog. It's a little annoying to open the dialog by double clicking and then close it and then go to the next track. So say that I have, let's do this. I'm going to delete these. I'm going to create a whole bunch of, I don't know, lead vocal tracks or something. So I'm going to make 3 tracks, but I'm not going to bother naming them here. I'm just going to hit create, and now I'm going to go through and name them now that I've created them. And the nice thing about this is I can double click the first one, name it Vox 1, and then instead of having to close this out, by the way, there's also a comments field if you need to write yourself some notes. But if I want to get to the next one, it gives me an option, but it's a lot faster if I just hit Command and the right arrow or the left arrow to go back. So then I can go, oh, I want Vox 2, and then Command right arrow gets me to the next one. And now I have my 3 vocal tracks ready to go. Right? It's really important that you do this before you start recording, because if I record on a track called audio 1 like this, check out what happens in my file folders. Oh, recording a couple seconds of blank audio. All right, so here, check this out. All right, so if I open up my audio files folder, I will have a recording called Audio 02 in this case, because I must have recorded an Audio 1 at some other point. We don't want to do this because we have no idea what Audio 1 means when we're looking at these tracks. We want a label like this, right? Bass, clavish, drums, guitar, organ. I want those to show up in that folder. The way that Pro Tools auto names in its audio files folder, these WAV files in case I need to go find them, is by the track title. So if you rename it or name it later, you're going to get a different. So I'm going to go to Vox 1 now. Now it's at Vox 1 here. I'm going to record. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to open that folder back up. And notice now I have a Vox 1 recording. And each new recording that I do on that track will have a new number next to it. So that's Vox 1-01 or underscore 01. And the next one would be Vox 1 underscore 02. And that way you're actually going to have a really good sense, even if you just go into the audio files folder, of what you have. But if it's just named audio, it's going to be really tricky to find that audio later if you need it outside of your session. So name your tracks really early. It's a really good convention to just name at the beginning. Name them something that you won't need to change later and stick with it, because then all your audio files in your audio files folder will be nicely organized. And Pro Tools will be doing that for you for the most part, all from us just naming the track the right way. I can also deselect a single track by just holding Command and clicking that one. And if I want to select non-contiguous tracks, tracks that aren't next to each other, I can also hold down Command and click them. So Command will unclick a single one, unselect a single one, and will let me select a variety of tracks if I want. And you'll notice again they highlight in the track list. And then if I want to select tracks all in a row, I can hold down Shift and select down the line a little ways. So maybe I want to select from Organ up to Vox 3. I select Organ and then hold down Shift and click there, and I'll get everything in between up to Vox 3. So the quick way to select. Quick thing about track time base. So after I've created a track, I can change the time base between samples and ticks, and it's this little circular button right here at the bottom left of the track called the time base selector. And typically what happens is we stick with the defaults. So audio files will be in samples and MIDI files will be in ticks. And you'll notice that samples is this little circle icon and ticks are this tiny little metronome guy right there. And you'll notice the difference between the way those get displayed and dealt with in your session is that if I'm in samples for my track, it is locked to a specific point in time and number of samples, right? The sample moment is right there. So if I change my tempo in my session, I'm going to click and drag up or down, they won't move. They're locked to a sample, right? That's the sample rate of my session, keeping that in the same place. But you'll notice that my track that is in ticks are locked to a bar and a beat. So every one of these notes knows where it is in relation to the bar and beat of my session. So this is bar 6, beat 1. And if I change my tempo, bar 6, if I go slower, bar 6 takes longer to get to. And if I go faster, I get to bar 6 earlier, right? So these guys will stick to their beat and their bar number because they are in ticks. Ticks allows them to stick. Now we can also do a little bit of that with audio, but we won't deal with that changing the speed of the audio. So the MIDI will actually change speed when we do that. If we want to do something similar to that with audio, we have to do that with elastic audio, which we'll talk about later. But frequently we're just going to leave the time base for each track in its default, but occasionally it's useful to change those. Okay, so I think that's about it for this one. Have fun. See you in the next one.